Hello, and welcome to the 5th edition of the Globe and Mail Craft Club. We are about halfway through this series, and I can't believe how quickly it's gone and how much fun it has been. If you're joining us for the first time, I'm Jana Pruden. I'm a crime and feature reporter at the Globe and Mail. And for this period of time in these strange pandemic days, I'm also hosting a craft club. If you are new here, welcome. Please feel free to get in the comments and tell us where you're joining us from, ask questions for myself or for Catalina. Tell us projects that you're working on. We love to hear from you. And if you are a regular, welcome back. It's really wonderful to see you and to have you here. It's been amazing seeing the community that's developed. I'd love to encourage you to share your work and your feedback on our Facebook page, Globe Craft Club, or by email at audience@globeandmail.com. I've been loving all of the embroidery samplers from our embroidery class a couple of weeks ago. And you will be happy to know that Netta, who was our teacher that day, has had her baby, a beautiful, healthy baby boy named Rumi, after the Persian philosopher and poet. So that's extremely exciting. I finished my little sampler. I did some sort of extra, added in a little Globe and Mail 2021 to commemorate this year that we're living in. I also really encourage you to sign up for our parenting and relationships newsletter, which is a great newsletter, and it's also running updates and links from the Craft Club and also some of the beautiful work that people have been sharing. It's really, really inspiring to see what everybody is making out there. Carol Ann Ross on our Facebook page making these little bottle cap embroideries that are just incredible. And then also subscribe to the Globe and Mail. A newspaper subscription is wonderful. You can also use it to do collage and paper mache, and also they pay me to make crafts with you. So that's a pretty wonderful thing. I've sometimes been joking that I created this craft club just so that I could hang out and do things that I love to do and make things that I want to make. And never is that more true than tonight, because I love notebooks. I use notebooks in my work. I use notebooks in my life. I always have one in my purse, by my bed, in the kitchen. They're everywhere. I work on big projects in them. I make little tiny lists with them. And when I started thinking about doing a notebook class, Catalina Sanchez was the first person who came to my mind. She makes the most beautiful artisanal notebooks. She makes every single one by hand. Her work is so beautiful, and I had admired them for a long time. And so I'm just so pleased to have her here with us tonight. Hello, Catalina.
Hey, Jana, how are you?
I'm good. It's so great to see you.
I'm so happy to be here with you and having this moment to teach you how to make notebooks.
Thank you. So before we get started, I know that you two are a lover of notebooks. Do you know how this interest started, this love of yours?
I actually don't remember, but every time I went to school, it was the best time to buy supplies. So I took days and days and days to find perfect notebooks for the different classes and try to find ones that no one will have in the class. So I really enjoyed that. And later in life, I started collecting the ones that I really like and started taking classes on making books, and it's taking me to here now.
It's amazing. It's funny that you say that about the school books, because I remember I never had the special ones. I had the classic Hilroy notebooks. And they came in, it was like pastel, 4 colors. Maybe especially if we have any people joining us tonight who were kids in the 80s, they may remember these. And I just remember the first day you opened it, it was so perfect, and it just seemed like, anything was possible. And then I would start writing, and I have terrible handwriting, and it would get, filthy and full of my bad handwriting. But it's really so much potential and special to have, all those blank pages. Do you have a favorite notebook? I know you've collected notebooks from all over the world.
Yeah, I have. I have a couple. Um, it's not like a huge collection now because I moved from Colombia and I lost some of them, but um, I have some of them here, so I can show you.
Oh, I'd love to see them.
So, for example, this one is one of my favorites. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
It has like all the cities around the world, and it's like it was a calendar for 2016, a planner, but I have it blank because it has all the different drawings and the little cute things that you can see and just enjoy watching.
Oh, that's
So
beautiful.
yeah, it's so beautiful.
Do you
So I
have a
like
lot of
this one.
notebooks that you don't write in and then you just keep them sort of special as they are?
Oh yeah, like most of them I cannot write. Like, or I buy two and then write in one of them and keep the
Oh,
other one.
oh, that's a good
So this one is another one that I really like. It's very simple, but it's just so beautiful. And it says like, how do you want me to love you? And it's like a special one.
Oh,
Just beautiful messages around.
that is really beautiful.
Yeah.
So for our notebooks, which I'm again so excited about, and I think I have all my supplies. I'm doing the butter knife, and I have a couple of things I hope will work as an awl. So when you're making a notebook, how do you get started?
Well, the first thing is picking them.
So I think you've frozen for a second. So maybe we'll wait for it to catch up. We're all becoming pros at this technical issues these days. Maybe I hear you again now.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, okay, yeah, I'm good. So the first thing I do is just
We seem to be having a technical problem again that you're frozen. Now I can see you. Now you're
okay.
seems my
So you
whole
can.
life. Yeah, I can see you now. You're moving. I think maybe we're good again. Or
I
maybe.
think I'm here now.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, this
Perfect.
one.
I always think, we saw all these science fiction movies where people were talking on vision phones for years. That was always the future. And this never happened in any of those movies. And it's actually happens a lot. I think we've learned this year.
Yeah, technology sometimes doesn't help, but
Yes. Well,
it's helped us a lot this year.
exactly. Well, you sound great. You look great. We can hear you now. So, yeah, you start with your supplies.
Yeah, I'll start with the paper, choosing the different styles of paper. Like paper is such a wide world and different textures and feelings. So choosing what you want for the inside and then choosing what you want for the cover. So different fabrics, different textures that you can play with or paper as well. So that's what I first started doing, like kind of designing the whole concept and then just start making.
Okay.
So
In the other part of my job where I'm a crime reporter, I was covering a very not uplifting trial all day today. It ended early, and so I had time to put some things together. And I love using recycled things, as people will know, but I have a friend who owns a art supply store here, so I went to look at some of the paper she had, and I bought this beautiful paper. I think it's made in Nepal. And I just glued it onto a piece of cardstock because it's not you said cardstock, and this is quite a thin paper actually. And then because I had extra time, I did one with a piece of, this is actually wrapping paper that I had bought that I thought was so nice. I was having trouble using it. And then I did one more with a recycled thing. So this is just a page from an old book of maps and a photocopied picture I had left from our collage class. So these are my little mostly from around the house, and one covers. What kind of cover are you using today?
That is so beautiful. Like I was gonna use just a little cardboard, like cardstock, soft texture with it. Just because we are folding it in half, but I will teach you how to do that later with the hard ones then. So I like to use sometimes plain things and just start putting decorations or stamps or messages, whatever you want to personalize it a little bit more. So should we start?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So the first thing we need to make sure is you have everything.
I believe I do.
So we have the paper and the scissors, knife, maybe something to punch holes.
So I have, I don't have an awl, but I got a quite a thick sewing needle, and I also had a little finishing nail, and I kind of thought a finishing nail might work pretty well. Do you think either of these will work?
The needle for sure. The file nail, I cannot see it, so I don't know.
Okay, we'll see. So yeah, I do have something to serve that purpose, and a pencil, ruler.
Perfect. I think you have it all.
Okay, and paper.
And paper, of course. So before starting with the notebook, I just wanted to give you like an idea of something you can do, like a little notebook you can do without any other materials than a paper and some scissors. So this is a little small notebook that you could do like very easily without anything else.
Oh, amazing.
So this is my craft paper, but you can use any paper, just like this one, because it's a little bit thick, and these kind of notebooks are great, like to decorate with photos or with any collages or things like that, to have it as a little souvenir, I would say.
So I have some extra paper. Are we just going to fold one?
Yep.
Okay, great.
So we get that one. Can you see my screen?
I can. It's
twisted.
Vertical, so if you can.
Just give me 1 minute, I adjusted.
It'll give me a chance to say hello to some people joining us, and also to assure you, we do a million tech tests for every one of these classes. We try to sort everything out, and then without fail, things come up. So we do always appreciate your patience. And while Catalina sorts that out, I will say hi to some people joining us tonight. I see Ellen Groskorth in Calgary, and Chris Rosar saying hi from Guelph. Hello. Brian McLean from Toronto, Linda Leffler all the way from Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, Cher, who's one of our regulars from Toronto, super excited. I love journals. Thanks so much. I am really excited myself. Bill James and Carolyn Kirkup in Kingston. Hello. Karen in Vaughan. Hello.
Okay. I don't know what's going
on. They're saying that you may have to hang up that phone for it to be horizontal, or alternately, we can just deal with it vertically. Maybe the people behind the scenes can tell me what they prefer.
Let me try this thing.
And Claudine Gervais, hello from Winnipeg. I'm wondering if that's the Claudine who I know in Winnipeg.
Maybe that will work.
Okay, yeah, let's just go ahead with that. Because I'm raring to get started on this. Got my little piece of paper. Okay.
So the first thing we're gonna do is just grab a piece of paper and fold it in half.
Okay. That's horizontally that you're folding it.
Yep.
Okay.
Like a hamburger instead of a hot dog.
Oh, that's a smart way of thinking about it. I like that. Okay, there we
Okay,
go.
so we have that, and now we're gonna get it both sides to meet on the middle on the fold that we just made.
Okay. So sort of like we're making a hot dog bun on, okay, I'm just gonna complicate it if I try to use that analogy. So I'm folding in.
Well, it's gonna fold like a hot dog, yes.
Okay. Perfect.
And we have both sides.
Okay.
So you should have like 4 columns.
Okay. Yep. There we go.
There we go. And now we're gonna fold it like a hot dog.
Okay. Perfect. People will know I like to thrift shop, and I love to buy paper at secondhand stores. There's often so much paper, and so this is old typing paper, and it has, I don't know, I think the neatest texture, and I know that you like reusing and recycling things yourself.
Oh yeah, I always repurpose things in this house. Okay, so now what we want to do is cut the middle line.
Okay.
From here. So you can just do it with a knife or with scissors. So I will just fold it in half again.
Okay.
In the hamburger side and cut the first 2 columns.
Okay, so I'm folding it like a hamburger, so it's horizontally folded.
As a hamburger.
Okay.
Then you have the fold on the side you're gonna cut.
Okay.
And cut through the fold we just made until you find the other line.
Okay, so I'm not cutting all the way through. I'm just cutting
all the way through.
Okay.
Just
perfect. Okay.
So you should have something like this.
Okay, that is exactly what I have.
Okay, so now we're gonna fold it back again in the hot dog
position. Okay.
Hot dog position with the opening up.
Okay.
And then we're gonna put it inside and get one each of the sides to meet on the other.
So I'm sort of holding the folds together so it becomes like an X?
Like an X, yes.
Okay. And then folding?
And then folding it, everything in the middle.
Oh, wow. I love this.
So this is like the basic form of a book. This is called, it is called a sign. And then what I usually just do is write like front and numerate the pages so I can know which one is the back. And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 pages to write.
That is so sweet. So a couple of the pages are folded, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you cut them down the side or no? Because then
no, if you cut it down the side, then you lose that.
Right.
This is one example for posters or things like propaganda.
Right. Okay. I think maybe you're frozen for a second, but that resolved. Oh, maybe you're there.
So this is the front. Then we have the different pages inside and the back here. And when we open it, on the other side, you could have like a whole image. So you can just use everything or.
Oh, that's cool. I wonder if you could you know, make a little book that's one way, and that when you open it and fold it the other way, it works in the other direction?
You can. You have to be very careful with what you do, but yes, you can.
Yes.
You have
Okay,
to
this
probably do a couple of tests to make it.
yes. This is fantastic. Thank you so much. That's so cute too, because I bet you could do that like a really tiny little book. How cute would that be? Just really, really small. Adorable.
Yeah, you can do different styles as well with more pages. So for example, this is just a prototype. So you have, if we have time, we can show it, but 12 different squares. Then you can use just to put your kids to draw it every day, something or whatever you want.
I love that. It's so simple to make. You can make it in minutes.
In minutes, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's like the basic book.
Okay.
So you just made one book.
I just made a book. Look at that. Published author. Just did it.
Yeah.
Just on a Tuesday evening.
And you can always add like a card stock here or a cardboard to create covers, whatever you want to.
Right.
Put it like a little bit hard.
Some little scraps of that paper that I can just actually cut and glue on.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. One book down.
One book down. Yes. Now, should we make the next one, which is this one?
Yes.
It's like a basic notepad, but it's sewn in the middle.
Okay.
So for this one, we're gonna start by making groups of 4 sheets of paper.
Okay.
And we are gonna fold them in the hamburger style, all 4 of them. So.
And you said
4.
Did you say 15? How many sheets 15? Of paper?
Yes, in the list of materials there were 15.
Yeah. Okay.
Just use 1. We're gonna use 12 here. And then just a little extra view.
Okay.
Screw the one up.
I love your organization. Were you worried I was going to maybe cut my my folded one right in half?
No, I was not worried about that. I was hoping to be good enough in instructions, so you didn't do that.
It was very clear.
So folding 4 sheets at the same time in the hamburger style. Over here, you're probably gonna need a little bit of help of the bone folder or the knife you have over there.
So after you fold it, then you go over it with your bone folder or your knife just to make it crisp?
Yes, just a little bit. Don't do it too crisp just yet, because we're gonna put it all together. But if it's like too hard for you to press down, then use it. If you have it already like folded, then that's fine.
So just a little sort of the butt of the butter knife is what I should be using? Okay.
Yeah.
And you said groups of 4?
Groups of 4, that's right.
Okay.
Then have my one.
And if you're making them along with us, of course, if you have any questions, feel free to ask us in the comments. And
yeah, and this will be the same if you're using different sizes of paper. We're just folding them in whatever direction you want to be the size of your notebook.
So the same concept, whether you're making a giant book or a little tiny book.
Yeah,
same thing.
The same thing.
Perfect.
And then it's always best just to start folding from the middle of the. So I'll put your edges together, make sure they align. and then from the middle, just bring your finger and then slide it towards out.
Okay. I just realized I only did 3 there, so I'm going to have to do a set of 5. How many notebooks do you think you have made in your life? Have you ever tried to count? I think you froze up there, or you were thinking really hard about how to answer that.
No, I was thinking probably 1,000 books, I think.
1,000. That's amazing.
Or, yeah.
That's amazing. We have someone commenting how clever about what a good idea that little folded notebook is. I'm meanwhile having counting my papers.
Oh, don't worry. You can have a book of 10 pages or 15. I just put 12 just to make it easy for everyone to count and not have 100.
Okay.
Whatever amount you have, it's right.
Okay, I'm putting in an extra then because I have one.
And then you should have like 3 groups.
I do.
Of folded paper.
There we go. There are my 3 groups.
Then what we're going to do is fold whatever you're going to use for the cover. I have this little cardstock. Did you have something beside the paper? Is it like you can fold that one or not?
Yeah, so it's all I did was I glued it onto cardstock.
Okay, then it's easy to fold.
Yeah.
And it should be the same size as your paper. If not, you can just trim it a little bit.
Okay.
And then we're gonna.
You just fold it, like you just squish it folded the way that we did the other ones?
Yes, make sure the outer side is what you're gonna be using. So fold it into the inner side.
Right, okay.
Having the design out.
Okay. Do you have any tricks of how to, sometimes when you fold it and you meet the 2 edges and then when you press it down, suddenly it's off center. Do you have a trick to try to make it as perfect as possible?
The best trick is just to make sure your edges align. If they align, the paper is gonna fold properly. I just hold it on this, like usually what I do is hold both edges and then bring my fingers into the middle and then slide it out so they don't move. But that should be fine. Don't press it too hard.
Okay.
Now what we are gonna do is put the cover down and we're gonna start making like the book and put in one of the groups of folded sheets.
Okay.
Then the next one.
And so they're all being sandwiched inside of each other, are they?
Making our sandwich.
Right. So everything is, it's just like a regular book. I was trying to find a way to describe that, but I guess just like a regular book. Okay. So all of the pages, all of the folds are together and it's in one grouping.
In one grouping, yes.
Okay.
You could have fold everything together at the same time. Yeah. You just do one fold, but it sometimes, if you're using a thick paper or you have many pages, it's very hard to fold.
Right. Okay. I think you have frozen again, but that's okay. We'll give everybody a chance to. Oh, there you're back.
I'm back. Okay.
Yeah.
That way you can catch up.
Yeah.
If I'm being
it's actually working quite well. So, yeah.
Another type of book that you can always do without any other thing than paper and elastic is this one. Just put an elastic through Meet it in the middle. And now you have another very easy notebook to carry around with you.
Oh, again, how clever is that? So you could do that if you had a big enough notebook, you could do that with what you've already made and then you're done.
And then when you're done, yeah.
That's
You don't have to sew them, but like I'm here to teach you how to sew.
Yes. Well, and everybody got their embroidery cotton and their needles for last class, so probably a lot of people are ready to sew.
And these ones are not very lasting notebooks because like you have them loose paper, so it's good to have if you have something you want to keep out or just group a little pages and keep them all together for a while, but they won't last you forever. Something hand-sewn, it will last you like forever if you take care of it.
Okay. I read a story recently about someone found some of Drake's old notebooks, Drake the singer, from when he was in high school. I guess he's not a singer, musician, rapper. They found some of his old notebooks from when he was in high school, and they were sold for many, many, many tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. I can't remember, but that's, a good thing to keep in mind. Maybe your lyrics that you write in here, or your novel or whatever you write in here will sell for thousands of dollars one day when someone finds it. So are you there? Can you see us?
I think I lost you.
Can anybody see me? I can see you. Hello?
Yeah.
So I think Catalina has probably left the call to restart, to stop freezing. So, oh, there she is again. Not frozen.
I almost left the call.
Well, that's perfect. There you are. You're back.
That's so cool about Drake's notebooks.
Yeah, I looked up a few different stories about these famous notebooks that have been found by people. And of course, artists, musicians, sometimes recording really, really amazing things as their work develops just on paper in notebooks for all time.
Yeah. And a very good tip to always keep your memories fresh and intact for the years is always use acid-free paper. So it won't damage your photos or your memories, or it won't fade over time. So whenever you're buying paper, keep that in mind if you want to keep something precious.
Yeah, that is really good to know. Thanks for mentioning that.
Okay, so for now we're gonna keep this on the Okay.
Oh, okay, now you're back.
I don't know. I used to have a pretty good internet, and now today is going crazy.
I have a theory that, we do it right at 7:00 Eastern time, and that's right when everyone is logging on to Netflix to watch their shows or whatever, because whenever we do our tests, we never have problems. And then, we get online and sometimes we have problems. But our craft club members are so patient and willing to bear with us through this. And I know they have projects in front of them. So, and yes, I think someone is suggesting it. I'm not sure if it's from our audience or from our team that we need to do our tests at 7. And yes, I think we should start doing that maybe.
Yeah.
We are. So we do have a freezing again. And I think, Catalina, just if anyone in your house is streaming it's probably good to tell them not to if you can still hear me. And I'll do a couple more shout outs to Suzanne. She's she makes the most beautiful soaps. I'm always in awe of her soaps. John and Linda Sanderson in Kitchener, and Donna Ottenson in Regina. Hello to all of you. And there you are, you're back.
Back, okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
So to start sewing.
So I don't know if you heard me, but now we're gonna set the sandwich of books on the side, and we're gonna grab a new sheet of paper just to make the guide, and you can keep it for other notebooks that you're gonna make.
Okay. So I'm putting that aside, and I just have now a blank piece of paper.
Yes.
Okay.
Now we're gonna fold it again in the half, like a hamburger.
Okay.
This is gonna be our guide to punch the holes.
Okay.
So it's very straightforward. And I always like to make guides so I don't have to measure every time I make a notebook. So I keep my guides, and that way I know where the holes go and if it worked or if it didn't work when I was sewing, then I know what to change.
That's
so
smart.
We're gonna grab our ruler and this pencil. And if you are using 8.5 by 11 paper, then I already did the math for you.
Okay.
If you're using a different kind of paper, don't worry, you can still do it. Just you have to do the math. We're gonna find the middle.
Okay.
So this one is, I'm doing it in centimeters. So if you have a ruler in centimeters, or do you have it on inches?
Inches, but I think there's centimeters on this side, so, or millimeters. Okay. Probably most people would be doing inches, but that's okay. We can convert.
Okay.
So how many centimeters is it? You have frozen again.
Sorry.
Oh, there you are.
So the middle is 10.3.
Right. So for 8
No. 1 second. I messed up my paper.
So we're looking for
8.5. So it's 8.5 inches. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's 8.5 inches. So it's gonna be 4.25 inches.
Okay.
And then I make a mark with my pencil in the fold.
Okay.
And then we are gonna make 3 centimeters spacings.
Okay.
Make a mark every 3 centimeters until you cannot fit 3 more.
Right. So
basically you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines.
Right. Okay. So if we're converting 3 centimeters into inches,
then it's gonna be about 1.25 inch.
Okay. Everyone's going to be asking at me, but it's well known that journalists are not good at math. That's a thing. Everybody knows that. So.
Yeah, if you're using a different size, the important thing is that you mark the middle and then even space whatever is left, leaving a gap of about 1/2 inch or something like that.
Right.
It doesn't have to be perfect. Like you can just eyeball it and make it whatever spacing you want, but the prettier it will look.
Right. So how many dots should there be on a piece of 8.5 typically?
Then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
7 all the way across. Okay,
7
so the
dots,
middle and 3 on each side. Okay.
3 on each side and the middle, yeah.
Right, and we thought that was 1.25 inches.
About that much, yeah. It's a little bit less than 1.25 inches, but it's okay. 1.25 inches is easier to measure.
Right. Okay.
So if you're doing that, then you have 4.25, then 3, then 1/7/8, and then 1/2 inch.
Yeah. I mean, the good thing about this, when we were doing soap making, I was a little bit concerned about burning my skin off. And so those calculations were quite stressful. I feel much better about these ones. And
again, it's something you have to do only once for every different size. So as long as if you're only making one, it doesn't really matter.
Right.
The correct exact point.
Okay. So we have our dots.
7 dots, yes.
Up under the pressure. Maybe it's not perfect, but there we are.
Then doesn't have to be perfect. Again, the important thing is you have some dots to make holes, a little spacing on the top and a little bit spacing on the bottom. So you're not having like the dot completely on the edge of the page.
Right. Okay. Well, I think we have that.
Okay, then you're good to go.
Okay.
Now we're gonna start punching these ones.
Okay.
So on the fold, make sure you punch the hole where it's folding.
Okay.
You make a little hole, like about the same size as your needle.
Okay.
Doesn't have to be like exact again, but just that it's easier to go through. I'm gonna make them a little bit bigger so you can actually see something.
Okay. Yeah, and of course, you're using an awl. I'm just using a regular needle that I had from embroidery.
Yeah, you can use the needle. So if I use the needle, it's the same thing. Just punch the hole.
I feel like if I put a piece of wine cork on top of this, it might feel a lot like an awl actually, because it'll.
Yes, you can do that. That's what I actually use to protect the point of my awl. I put a wine cork, and then if it falls to the floor, nothing happens.
Oh, it's perfect. So, and then I have a very noble reason to open the wine tonight for that very reason.
You can also use the needle you're using to sew and then just push it all the way through. Then you're ready.
Okay. So I've poked my little holes.
Okay. Now we're going to poke those holes into the actual notebook. This one is your guide.
Okay.
And what I also always like to make a note of what is the top, just in case the measures are a little bit different, and I always align it.
Right. And you're putting that on your test
on the guide. Yes.
Okay. So this is the top.
And then you can make any annotations you want, like what type of notebook are you making, or.
Right. Okay. And so when I'm taking the pages, am I bringing them? I have the cover as well, or I'm just using the pages right now?
The cover and the pages. You have everything. You have the whole sandwich, and you're gonna sandwich it again.
Okay.
Like just make sure that since you have a design on the cover, that you're actually poaching the holes on the top.
Okay. Got it.
Got it. And align it very well.
Okay.
So all the pages are on the same direction. And now you're gonna punch the holes again into all the pages.
Okay.
If it's easier for you, you can always put some paper clips or some, I don't know, maybe an elastic to hold the pages together so it doesn't move while you're punching the holes. But I find it easier just leave it as it is and be careful.
Okay. And I see a question, Carolyn Mulvaney, how many inches? So we're using 8.5 by 11 paper. And maybe Catalina, do you want to, as I try to struggle with this and make it look cool. Do you want to describe or explain how we're calculating the holes again?
Yes. So to calculate the holes, what you need to find is the middle of the paper, always over the fold. Make sure you're calculating the measurements on the fold of the paper so it's easier for you later. Find the middle, make a mark on the middle of the paper, and then calculate on both sides a different amount of, like if you're using a 8.5 inch paper, then you have 3 more holes, leaving a gap of about 1/2 inch on the top and 1/2 inch on the bottom, just so you don't have the hole very close to the edges.
So I found it a little hard to get my needle through. I did eventually get it. Do you sometimes do some pages at a time, or do you really try to do it all at once?
I prefer doing them all at once, but I know it's hard. So it requires a little bit of experience. That's why I made the punching hole. So if you're finding it too hard, just take some pages out, punch 2 to 3 pages, and then put the guide again in the other 2 or 3 pages and keep going. That way you always have the same dots and it will always align together.
So I have done that. I'm going to just take a couple of them out and punch my holes. This is probably...
this one is a bit of practice. So.
Yeah. Well, and I can see investing in an awl would make some sense for...
Yes, it is definitely a good tool to have.
Yeah.
Another thing you could do is if you have like a book laying around, like that gives you the like a V shape.
Right.
Put it inside. It's a little easy as well.
I think once I got my, took some out, now I'm having no problem. So I will just, yeah, they're going through quite easily. I took out about half. I think maybe you've frozen again, but I'm going to assume it'll just catch up in a minute and we're all punching our holes anyway. So that's no problem. This is our element of danger. Every craft club, we do have one element of danger where you might hurt yourself in whatever way. So there, I see you back.
Oh God.
It's fine. I've just been punching my holes. I assume everyone watching has been punching their holes. And oops, there's my...
And now that you're doing it a separate way, it's very important that the cover, the holes are actually in the middle as well. Don't push them to a different side. Right.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, punching holes is the critical step. If you have good punches, then your sewing is gonna be beautiful. So take your time, don't rush it, and just make sure it's aligning all the way.
Good punches and strong fingers.
If you have an awl, it's way, way easier.
Someone does say it helps to use an open phone book to hold the pages together while you're punching the holes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to say when I was away. So I was saying to myself, just have a little V-shape book or something that keeps like this shape, and then just put it on top, and that's gonna make it way easier to punch even if you don't have an awl.
Right. Okay. Not sure where I'm going to find a phone book these days. I don't think I've had a phone book for quite a while.
A book. You can just use a book or a magazine, whatever you have around.
Right. That's a great trick. And I do have lots of big books around. And I'm just kidding. I probably
something you don't want to ruin, right? Because you don't want to punch a hole into a nice book.
Right. Into your favorite other notebook.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can see how that would work well, but actually mine are going through now that I'm doing it in the separate holes. It's worked quite well. So I think I have done all my holes.
Oh, that's
Speeding
good.
right along.
Just put everything back together again.
Okay.
Are you seeing my green board or
Yep,
just
I am.
myself? Okay.
Yeah.
Just I stop seeing it. So you should have holes on the front and then holes on the back.
Yep. Sure do.
If you are unsure if you make all the holes in all the different pages, just go with your needle.
Yeah.
One more second. And this will also be easier when you're sewing because you have already the holes.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I can definitely
adjust it to what your needle size is going to be.
Right. Okay.
So what I always do as well is always hold when I'm gonna start sewing or when I'm refining the holes, always hold the notebook by the spine.
Okay.
So it's easier for me to handle, and then I don't move the pages around if I hold it from another side.
Okay, that makes sense.
So I'm just double checking all my holes.
I see a note here from Gail Berman saying, I'm very much enjoying this event. Thank you, Gail. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. I want to sit around and make stuff with people all the time. So this is
this is so fun. I love crafts. I have different materials and all of different things that I always do. So whenever you want to do something, just give me a call. We can do something together.
Okay, perfect. What else do you like to make outside of books?
Everything. Right now I'm doing some cross stitching.
Amazing.
And I want to do the embroidery class you made last week. But I haven't had the time to do that one. What else I like to do? Coloring and scrapbooking as well. Like whatever comes to my mind that day.
Wonderful. Well, we have some good ones coming up. We're doing hand lettering is going to be our next class.
Oh, yes.
That just seems like perfect to then make notebooks that have, great lettering on them or in them. So I'm quite excited. We're doing watercoloring. Lots of people have requested watercolor. So that's going to be a great class in a few weeks. So yeah.
You can also do this with watercolor paper, so you have all your watercolors together.
Yeah, how beautiful would that be? Okay, so we have all our holes. And
yes.
Should I be picking thread? I do have some embroidery cotton. I just grabbed a couple of threads. Of course, I have a massive amount of embroidery cotton. And then also just a regular heavy thread. Do you have any thoughts on what you prefer?
Well, I use a special bookbinding thread that is like a nylon-based thread that is very heavy duty, so it doesn't snap. Even if I do it very hard, it won't snap easily. And then you use some wax as well to keep it from moving and to give it a little bit more hold when you're doing the notebooks.
Right.
But I'm gonna use today embroidery thread as well, just to give it a punch of color. And I always like that different combinations, because this one only comes in white, so it's a little bit boring sometimes. Yeah. You can use linen thread as well. It's very used in bookbinding. Usually what you wanted to do is use some wax seal just to make it a little bit stronger if you're using just a cotton or a linen thread.
Okay.
But you don't really need it for this size. It's very small, so
Right. Okay.
it won't be. If you don't have a wax seal and you want to do a bigger book, then you can use like a candle and just go with your thread and do a couple of passes, and then you will go like kind of the same feeling.
Okay, that's great to know. So I think, well, I'm debating between the black and red, but maybe I'll go with the red or the black. Okay.
That's up to you.
Yeah, that's
whatever.
I think I'm going to go with the black. It'll be easy to see for the stitching. So how much thread are you taking?
I have this one already pre-cut, but to measure, what you want to do is, and for sake of don't running short, what you want to do is always measure the length of your book.
Okay.
And do that twice.
Okay, perfect. And I always, when I'm sewing, I tend to be a little bit generous with the thread because I hate running out in the middle of something. So.
Or doing knot at the end with like very small pieces is not easy to do.
Exactly. So, and I could just use the same needle. I do have some other needles here, but do you feel that needle is fine, or should I take a smaller needle?
No, you can use the same one.
Okay.
You can use the same one, and I'm gonna use this one with just 4 threads because my needle is a little bit thin, so I don't want to make the hole too bigger.
Right.
With the 6, but you can use as many as you want.
Okay. We learned all about separating threads last week, so everyone will be pros at that. I'm going to use all 6. I have sort of a chunkier, the paper, I don't know if you can see, it has a real sort of chunky texture to it. So I think that a thicker thread might be kind of a cool look with it. So are we...
Very nice, yeah.
Do we put a knot on the end, or?
You can.
Okay.
If that's easy for you, you can, but we are gonna leave just a little bit outside that we have to tie it later. You can use it in case you're pushing it and you don't want to move it forward. So let's do a little knot at the end.
Okay.
I
don't mind. I could live on the edge. If you think we don't need a knot, I can try it.
Well, let's try it. I never use a knot because, well, that's how I learned.
Okay.
So what you want to do is leave just a little bit of thread on the side and then leave the other longer on the other one.
Okay.
And you're gonna put what I always do is put the book on the table.
Okay.
With the spine facing me.
Spine facing you, okay.
Okay. So we're gonna put our needle through the middle hole.
Okay.
From the inside to the outside.
Okay, so I'm counting the 4th one, which is the middle one.
Yes, the 4th one in our case.
And okay.
And then pull the thread towards you and leave like, I don't know, 2 inches or 5 centimeters of thread, something hanging inside.
Okay.
You will use this one to tie the knot at the end.
Okay.
Now we're gonna go to the next hole. It doesn't really matter if it's up or down, but put your needle through the next hole towards the paper. Okay. So you're gonna find the needle inside and push it out.
Okay. And I'm just being careful to try to get all the papers lined up because I can see how that would be a time where you might end up making them all askew, but hopefully I got it.
That's when you always want to hold your spine together with the other hand
Pinching
just
it tight.
so
Okay.
you don't move it around.
Okay.
So you should have both sides of the thread inside. Just
Yep.
keep this one, hold the little piece you left in the inside and pull this one a little bit.
Okay.
So you have it tight.
Okay.
And then to the next hole, we're gonna do it to the outside again. So we're doing kind of like an S through all the holes.
Right. Okay. So going in the same direction that you started, I started going up the book, so I'm going the same direction.
The same direction, yes, until you reach the end.
Okay.
And then we're gonna go back into the last one and go inside again.
Okay.
If you have more or less holes, then you keep going until you finish one side.
Right. So now that I've reached the end, I'm working my way back, going in. Is that correct? I'm going to go back in here right now.
Then you will go back. Yes. If you are in the last hole.
Yep.
Then you want to go. Oh, my. This hole is a little bit smaller. So. So, yes, you want to go back into the same hole that you already have like a needle here, a thread here. Then you want to go in the same one.
Okay.
And go back. So you should have at the end of this session, meet in the middle with all the holes with
right.
thread on the inside and on the outside as well.
Right. So I'm coming to our middle hole. So I'm going to go through it and I'm just going to keep on going to the other side, to the bottom of the book now.
Yes.
Perfect. And they're asking if you can just move your notebook into the middle of your mat a little bit more.
I used to be able to see where I was working, so I could be mindful about that, but now I cannot see it. I don't know why, but
well, it looks great.
It is looking now. Are you able to see it now, or should I move it?
Yes, I'm able to. So someone, I think, will let me know if they need to. I'm kind of moving mine around. You said that, yeah, that is better. I'm hearing that's better. And you're very good at keeping yours still. I'm moving my book all around to get whatever angle I need to get, but that's why you're the professional.
Don't worry. Don't worry. When I'm sewing by myself, I'm all over the way as well. I move it, so I find it easier. Just
okay, and then so people will see. I'm sure everyone has gotten the hang of this now, and I'm definitely able, I'm trying to pull it, relatively tight, and this little thread that we started off with is not moving, so that's good.
That's good. Now, if you're already past the middle, it's not likely to move again, so you're fine.
Okay. That was like the danger thread if we pulled it out by accident, but so far it's good. And then going in. So what happens when we get back into the center hole?
We are just gonna tie both ends into a double knot, and then that will be all.
Oh, right, because it's already, I was about to put it back through, but now I see it already has a solid line of stitching there. And so I'm just going to tighten everything up a little bit, make sure that everything's nice and tight.
Now, before you tie it, just try to make sure that all the stitches are tight enough. Okay. You can do that just by pulling the threads, or like if you were tied in a shoelace, then pulling everything tighter bit by bit. Doesn't have to be like super tight, but you don't want them to be like loose, like maybe that you can like move it a little bit.
Right.
Without having like a wave.
So here's a question from Patrick, who is our tech wizard who makes everything run, and then also is, I think, really getting into crafting throughout the course of this program, right, Patrick? So he's wondering, he says big time. Yeah, he was embroidering a present for his mom because he's the best son ever. So he's wondering, should you reinforce the cover for the stitching somehow? Should we be worried that the paper is going to tear or something with this binding, or is it pretty sturdy?
It all depends on what paper you're using, right? And like there are some technical stuff that you can also keep in mind, that if you're using it against the grain, which is like where the paper runs. So have you noticed when you fold a paper, sometimes it's like perfect folds, and then if you fold it to the other side, it's like cracky. Mm-hmm. So if you do it on the cracky side, yes, you may be needing to reinforce it because that's the weak side of the paper.
Oh, interesting.
But usually, like if you have something like this size and with a pretty decent thickness of paper, you don't need to.
Okay. I mean, plus it's kind of cool if you have a notebook you've used so much it's all falling apart, and maybe it just increases the value when someone sells it because you're famous.
Yeah, at the end you're gonna always have to, if you use it that much, and you're always gonna have to put something to reinforce it.
True.
But
so when I'm tying my knot, is there anything special I'm doing, or am I trying to tie it closest to the middle, or I'm just tying it anywhere in a regular little knot?
So you should be going through the same hole. So
okay.
You are a little bit like advanced than myself. Okay. So you should have both threads coming from the middle hole.
That's
funny.
Have
them? Do you have all sides?
No, I definitely don't. At all. I wonder what I did. If I miscalculated somehow, because I do have a solid line on the spine, but then I have a gap inside.
Show me a little bit more to the tripod side, because I cannot see everything.
Yeah, so there's the back. It is a solid line. But yet inside,
well, that's fine. You can tie the knot closer to the middle. Just try. What you can do actually is, let's pretend this is, I'm gonna show you what you can do.
Okay.
Let's pretend this is your last thread.
Okay.
You just pass like underneath this one over here, like the other side of the thread.
Okay.
You pass it over there, then you have both ends on the same like hole.
Okay. So hopefully people at home didn't do whatever I did.
It doesn't really matter. You can do it like that. It won't affect the structure of the book, but just the like final look. If you do it that way, you can just tie the knot.
Yeah. Okay.
Together, but it just looks nicer when both ends are on the same dot, and it's easier to tie as well.
Right. And then do you end up cutting off the strings, or what do you do with the strings?
It all depends on you, because now it's a part of the design. So I always leave like about 1/2 inch or something like that on my thread, because it's how I like it. But if you have something bigger, or you can always do it to the outside and do a knot with a bow or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's cute. I have sometimes seen that where there's actually a knot outside on the spine of the book.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just gonna cut mine off pretty short here. Just kind of leave that as the center detail. I mean, I don't want to jump ahead here, but I have a notebook. This is definitely a usable
You have it.
Notebook.
You have it now. It's ready, and it's ready to use. Now you only have to decorate your cover if you want to put your name or anything like that, or people like myself that have an empty cover, then do whatever you want with it.
What do you think you'll do with yours? How do you like to decorate it?
Something like this, I always like to put what I'm gonna use them for, like notes or ideas or things like that, just because it's a small book, so I have like all the same stuff inside. But you can always use some pictures or scraps from newspapers and do like different or letters with from different magazines or from different articles, and create like a kind of collage. Yeah. Another thing that I usually like to do, but you don't have to, it's a little bit of patience now, is to cut the edges straight. If you see, like we have a little V shape on the edge.
Yeah.
So you could cut those edges and trim them down just to have them straight. But it's a labor of patience. So you have to be dedicated to that and make sure you're doing it right.
Yeah.
To make it right, you just have to measure very well, so you don't have like a book cut it on diagonal.
So when you say with patience, it just means being really careful about what you're taking off, and also not to cut the tip of your finger off or anything. Several of us who have spent a lot of time with X-Acto knives have the scars to prove it. So I'm going to work on that a little bit. Can you revisit for someone tying off the thread and just that process of tying?
Yes. So when you're trimming, just make sure to mark all, like measure very well, hold your notebook very firmly on the spine, and then hold your ruler and slowly, one by one sheet of paper, start cutting with the X-Acto knife.
One by one. Okay, you are way more patient than me. I'm just like going at it.
Okay, you will think that it will cut all through, but it doesn't cut all through. It's okay. So for tying up the knot, then we go. Let me finish mine. Then we go through we have both ends of the thread on the middle hole. If you don't have it on the middle hole, but have like a gap like this, and you have this one coming here and a gap over here, then you always go with your needle, pass under the last thread that is on the spine, pass it underneath, and then you have both ends on the same kind of hole, and then you just tie a double knot.
Yeah, and I'll just show people on mine. It might be easy to see because the thread's so black. So when I came up out of this hole, I had my thread here and the original thread in the center. And so all I did was bring that piece of thread, and I just kind of like tucked it under that first stitch that's above the center. So just really to like make sure that the threads were both in the same place to tie that little knot. So it's not, I didn't put an extra stitch or anything. I just like kind of put it, and if you can see here, let's see, I don't want to make a mark on the book, but so I just put my needle just underneath of that, that first stitch there, and then just tied it in a knot, just like if you were tying a knot in a shoelace. And then as Catalina said, you can choose what you want to do with the edges, tie a little knot, just leave them loose. I've definitely seen notebooks sometimes where they actually design it so that the thread comes out of the spine and there's a little tie in the middle there. So I think those are all, as she said, the creative kind of decisions that you can make.
Yeah, and always you can leave it in you can do the same thing, but start it on the outside if you want to leave like the knot outside, and add some beads at the end, or add, I don't know, like a jewelry or something you want to collect in there, like a little talisman. Yeah,
I love notebooks that have a little, almost like a built-in bookmark. That's one of my favorite things, when there's a little ribbon or something that comes through. So yeah, I'm shaving off these edges. I'm trying to be slow and careful, like Catalina would want me to be. Sometimes when I do this kind of thing, I'm just very reckless, and that's probably why I've cut myself so badly so many times. But I'm learning and becoming a better person through this process. So I'm trying to just shave it off. And I really like how this has actually just given it a more finished look. It was a little bit, mostly even, but a tiny bit jagged. So I'm really liking how this finishes it, Catalina.
yeah, it finishes so well because it's like all the same without the extra paper.
Yeah.
And the more pages you have, the more pronounced that V will be. So if you're making like a 5-page notebook, it's a 5-sheet notebook, it doesn't really show that much. But if you're doing a 50 pages, then you definitely want to trim the edges. So
yeah,
and you can do it on the top and the bottom as well. But the top and the bottom usually are very, very aligned together.
Yeah. So mine has still got a little bit of kind of flips open. So should I maybe press it a little bit more with the spoon or with the butter knife?
Yes. Now that you have finished sewing, then we press it a little bit.
Okay.
And this will always have like a little curve. What I usually do is just put it under some heavy books or some weights from the gym with a board or something, just overnight, just to press it hardly, and then they will completely lay flat.
For sure. Yeah, and I can already see just with a little bit of pressing that helps. And if I put it under some things overnight, I'm sure it'll be flat by tomorrow. And then is that it? We made our notebook?
You made your notebook, yes.
Well, this is so exciting. I'm so pleased with this notebook. And we have a note from Tosin, who's talking about making them for friends. That's one of the things I love so much about crafting, is people making things for each other, and how you can share the things that you make with people. I've sent out several of the soaps that we made earlier, and just seeing people in the group share things has been really remarkable. So just showing people my notebook one more time. There's the thread in the middle, the sewing on the outside, and it was so easy to make. And I'm really excited to try another one, to try more of these. I see that we're at 6:20. So is there anything else that we should know about making these notebooks, or any other tips or tricks that you'd like to share?
This one you can do it in any size, any amount of paper as well. if you put more pages, just make sure you're using a little bit more thread or a heavier thread so it doesn't snap, because the cotton one is a little bit delicate.
Yeah.
To finish it up, I always trim them, and I have a round corner that helps me do like round corners, so it's like a finished thing that you can do. You can also do it by hand with a ruler, slowly moving your ruler if you want. You could also use it for printing some, like you can print lines or print a menu, whatever you want, and bind them at home.
That's a great idea. The household menu as we cook many meals all the time. And I really encourage people to check out Catalina's work at catalinasanchez.ca. Is it? And
That's
I think
right.
they're
Yes.
going to put it up on the screen. That's CATALINASANCHEZ.ca. And her work is so gorgeous. And I really, really appreciate you sharing this skill with us and teaching us to make this. It's been such a pleasure getting to know you and just spending the evening making notebooks.
Oh, thank you for having me. I really enjoyed teaching you guys, and it's been a pleasure to have this night. Just if you want to follow us on Instagram, it's at catalinasanchez.ca as well. We are going to be launching some courses by the summer, so more technical and difficult ones, but still pretty fun. So thank you for having me, Jana.
Oh, that's wonderful. I will definitely be signing up if they're online. One of the great benefits of this current moment. And yeah, we just appreciate this so much. And we also appreciate all of you joining us, whether you were making a notebook along with us or just hanging out and talking about crafting. I just want to say thanks to our Globe and Mail team behind the scenes, Patrick, Deb, Lori, Lacey, and Jesse. And a reminder to please join our Facebook page, Globe Craft Club, and sign up for our Parenting and Relationships newsletter to stay up to date on all the classes we have coming up and to see what other people have been making. And please share your projects. We'd love to see them. And also, these videos do stay up indefinitely. You can find them on our website, our Globe and Mail website, also on the Facebook page. I'm always there to troubleshoot, and please share them with others. And finally, please watch for more information and supplies for our next class, which will be March 30th, where we'll be learning hand lettering with renowned calligrapher Danielle Sweeney. She has done calligraphy for some of the top brands in the world, luxury brands, and just does the most amazing design with lettering. We're going to have a real challenge for her because I have the worst handwriting in the world. So that's going to be a really great class. I'm really looking forward to it. And you can learn more about her in the preview story that will be coming out next week. So in the meanwhile, thank you once again, Catalina. This was so wonderful. And I'm your host, Jana Pruden. It's so great to have you all here again and spend time with you. Take care out there, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Thank you.
Thank you.